This is the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast, episode 13 with Michael Herlihy from Polar and Kevin McCoy of Lose It.
To be honest, anybody can build a watch. It's hard, however, to develop a system that actually allows you to analyze information that's beneficial to you. You know, it's great that you walk 10,000 steps today, but what does it mean for you physically that you walk those 10,000 steps? And that's really how we separate ourselves from our competition. It's the analysis that we can provide the user.
We're always focused on making mindful eating accessible to people. And tracking your food, we know, is the best way to actually lose weight, but it's a pain in the butt. We all know that, right? And when we originally started Lose It, it was, hey, people are writing their food down. Wow, we can make an app that's in your pocket with a database, and now you can start standing in line, you can actually look at the menu and figure out what you want to eat.
Welcome to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast for club owners, operators, and fitness professionals. I am your host, Josh Trent, and this is your number one trusted resource for the accelerating world of fitness technology. Each week, we bring you an expert interview with a global influencer at the crossroads of fitness and technology. You'll gain the insights, tools, and inspiration you need to stay connected to the pulse of what matters most for your fitness business in the age of exponential technologies. This podcast is brought to you by support from our outstanding sponsors, Brian O'Rourke and his family of companies, including Videre Ventures, Integris Advisors, Moon Mission Media, and many more. If you're looking for unmatched guidance, capital, insights, or a great speaker or facilitator, Brian and his partners are the go-to resource for your organization. To learn more, visit brianko'rourke.com. We'd also like to thank the Fitness Industry Technology Council, your nonprofit resource for reliable technology information, supported by forward-looking brands who are seeking to drive increased technology adoption in the fitness industry. Make a difference and join at fittechcouncil.org today. For episode 13, we're coming to the end of our featured series, live from CES 2017, bringing some of the top speakers and brands from Las Vegas right to your audio player. From heart rate to gamification, nutrition tracking, and beyond, this episode is bringing you the cutting edge of innovation and product development for fitness in the new year. Today on the podcast, we're learning from one of the most famous companies in our industry about advanced training with wearable technology, Polar. With a recent partnership teaming up with Les Mills to create a fitter and healthier planet, you'll learn about the virtual and cloud-based fitness tracking systems and devices that'll bring meaning and relevancy to your club's bottom line. Michael Herlihy is joining us from Polar to discuss this new technology, what he's seen change since Polar began in 1977, and the key aspects of what hasn't. You'll definitely want to stay tuned for our second featured guest, Kevin McCoy from Lose It. With early success in 2008 from partnership with Apple and over 1 million downloads in their first year, Kevin is sharing with us why what started out as the most successful calorie tracker application became a comprehensive and gamified health program. We'll also discover the strategy behind how Lose It is making mindful eating accessible to all people inside the fitness industry and globally. As we move closer to IRSA coming up in March, you can look forward to our upcoming episodes as we hear from keynote speaker and influencer Brian O'Rourke, as well as other respected thought leaders about what trends and topics matter the most to your fitness business. First up, let's step into this educational and insightful conversation with Michael Herlihy. Michael Herlihy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Today, Polar employs over 1,200 people worldwide, manufactures products, fully owned factories, has 26 subsidiaries globally, and manages a network for distributors of 35,000 retail outlets in more than 80 countries. Michael, why do you do what you do for Polar?
Well, I'm a big believer in the product and what we do for our end users. Polar, ironically, is celebrating 40-year anniversary this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, I wish I could take all the credit, but during that time period, we've developed a lot of features and functionality that will help the end user meet their fitness goals in a safe, efficient manner. And it's reflective in the product we have available today in the marketplace. And it's that legacy that we've developed over time that I think is what I'm most proud of.
Now, you've been with Polar for how long?
14 years.
And in those 14 years, you've probably seen incredible changes. Everyone in the fitness industry knows about Polar. I mean, we've been using the chest straps and we've been understanding heart rate monitoring for a long time. Mm-hmm. But when we look at this landscape over the past 14 plus years, what hasn't changed? What have you seen that hasn't changed?
Well, that's a very good question. If the one thing that hasn't changed is the demand of accuracy from the product. You know, there's always increasing demand for new features and functionality, but in the end, you want the accuracy that you would come to expect from a company like Polar. And if we couldn't provide that to our end users, then we run the risk of ruining the 40 years of history that we have behind us. So if there's one consistent theme I've seen during this time period, especially during my time at Polar, is the expectation of accuracy from us.
Polar has this deep history in the fitness industry, but how do trainers that you see across gyms globally here and health coaches, I mean, is there a number one way in which trainers are using heart rate with their clients? Is it on the gym floor or is it more in the group setting?
Both, actually. And I'll use the group setting as an example to begin with. We have a product called Polar Club, and it's basically a group solution where, and I'll use spinning class as an example. If I was the instructor, I could have the participants in my spinning class wearing either one of our chest sensors or one of our optical-based heart rate sensors that would, in effect, be able to transmit heart rate data to a central receiver. And behind me, during a spinning class, I could actually see in real time everybody's heart rate. It makes it for a very engaging experience for the end user. You're not just pedaling along, listening to whatever electro music is pumping over the speakers. You're getting tangible results from in real time as what's happening during the actual class itself. Now, in terms of the trainer-client experience, well, that's something else completely different. I mean, we have obviously a very diverse selection of wrist units that will help guide that user towards their fitness goals safely and efficiently. And if that trainer is astute enough in terms of heart rate training, they can really maximize their time together and ultimately help them reach their goals safely.
One of the big brands in the fitness industry is Les Mills. You have a partnership with Les Mills. You guys have teamed up to create a fitter and healthier planet. And you can get 15 different workout-specific sports profiles in Polar Flow. Tell us about Polar Flow and why this came to be with Les Mills.
Well, Polar Flow is the ecosystem that supports our product. So whether it be a mobile application or the website, it is in effect what supports the wrist units that our customers are wearing. Our partnership with Les Mills is very important in that we recognize obviously what Les Mills is in the fitness industry. And it's nice to have and develop these partnerships with an organization like them where they can really showcase what heart rate technology is all about. More importantly, we're privileged to be part of an exciting organization like Les Mills because of, again, their legacy and their history. So it was a very beneficial mutually.
There's an ecosystem that everyone has their devices in, and whether it's Under Armour or Polar or any brand, everyone wants to kind of keep their data within. But what kind of open system do you have for Polar? I mean, do you feed information to other devices? Is there an open interface there?
There is. To your point, if I were to characterize how we separate ourselves from our competition, it's how we analyze the data. But in the end, we recognize that our end users want the flexibility of sharing it with other services. And I'll use, the Apple and Google health services that are available on their phones. People obviously want to bring that information over to those services, so we have that connection available. In the sports performance world, there's a very popular website called Strava, for instance. And for the cyclists and runners who utilize their service, well, they can utilize our wrist units. And then when they synchronize the data to the Flow application, that automatically transfers over to the Strava service so they can share it that way. So as much as we've developed what Flow is, we do, again, recognize that our customers want that flexibility of using different services out there.
There's a lot of different products that Polar has. There's something really exciting that just came out there. There's the A360, and that is where people can actually sample this Les Mills experience when they're getting the A360. Mm-hmm. Why did you choose that device for that partnership?
Well, the A360, perfectly frank, is our best-selling unit for the fitness segment. The combination of the features that it has and a price point it's sold at makes it very attractive for people who are not really sports specific. These are people who are living a very active, healthy lifestyle and participating in group exercises, for example, like a Les Mills. And it was the perfect unit really to showcase that partnership with them. When it comes to what's visible on the watch face itself, we have what's called sport profiles that can be created on Flow. And the Les Mills program has different classes, if you will, including body pump, among others, that we've created individual profiles for. So for those people who participate in these Les Mills classes, they can select that particular Les Mills class they're going to be participating in. And when you go to their Flow calendar, for instance, they can see that on that Monday they did this class, and on Wednesday they did that class. So hence the reason why we wanted to make that a very close partnership with them.
Over the past 14 years, you've probably seen a lot of brands come and go. What do you think Polar has done, besides the accuracy, a really good job about when it comes to meeting the consumers at their deepest needs? In other words, you have a mom who's busy and she has kids and she wants a basic activity tracker. Mm-hmm. You have a pro athlete that wants something very advanced. What drives this innovation for Polar? Why the constant reinvention, and where does that come from? Where do you pull from that energy?
Well, the invention is out of necessity. To your point, there's a lot of new companies coming into the marketplace nowadays that are introducing something comparable. It tracks your activity, it does this, it does that. I mean, to be honest, anybody can build a watch. It's hard, however, to develop a system that actually allows you to analyze information that's beneficial to you. It's great that you walk 10,000 steps today, but what does it mean for you physically that you walk those 10,000 steps? And that's really how we separate ourselves from our competition. It's the analysis that we can provide the user. And I think it's that sense of competition that's either coming in already in the marketplace that helps drive us in terms of the innovation that we're best known for.
What do you personally love about technology? We know that technology can be for humans or against them, depending on our mindset.
Right.
What kind of mindset do you have towards technology?
Well, I'm all for it, as long as it's a positive experience. And, working for a company that's health-minded, I enjoy the fact that the people who use our product are realizing a very specific benefit that's going to live them a healthier lifestyle. And when we introduce products like our own or any others in the marketplace that are geared towards health, I think it can only be a positive thing.
Do you feel like in large organizations, small organizations, that there's resistance to tech? And if so, how do people overcome that resistance, especially when we look at small health clubs, medium chain health clubs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very good point. There are some people who are very old school in their approach and look at heart rate training as, I'm not really quite sure what it is. I don't want to be bothered to learn what it is. I don't want to be pressured into trying to sell something to one of my clients. Unfortunately, there's always going to be people out there like that. But for us, we need to make sure that whatever message we try to convey to these holdouts, if you will, really echoes what we do best. In the end, we want to help you meet your fitness goals, and the technology we have to offer, we believe, can help along that process.
A lot of companies are having wearable device interaction with virtual coaching and remote coaching, but I see that with Polar, not only do you have this long history of providing really actionable devices, you now have Polar Flow for coaching.
Correct.
What's the difference? Is it something where they're only using your devices, and what does that look like for the athlete or the client and then the coach?
Well, Flow for Coach is a service that we introduced probably about 18 months ago. And what makes it unique is I, as the coach, can follow you as my athlete remotely. So as long as we're connected, if you will, on the Flow service that this is part of, I can see how your training is progressing over a period of time. Now, that's just one component of it. What I can do is I can actually create individual training targets for you to work towards. So I can populate those training targets on your Flow calendar. And when you synchronize your watch with your Flow web service, those targets now populate your watch. So you'll know that next Thursday, for example, I want you to go do a 1 hour run, and during that 1 hour, for the first 20 minutes, I want you doing your warm up, and then the next 20 minutes, you're going to be between this heart rate zone and that heart rate zone, and then the last 20 minutes is going to be your cool down. I'm in effect giving you the targets and guidance that you need as the athlete remotely, and that's really what the benefit of what the Flow for Coach system is all about.
And what I'm hearing from you is this is really athlete focused, or is it also encompassing steps and kind of lifestyle change, behavior change for people that aren't hardcore athletes?
Well, yes and no, and I hate to be somewhat non-committal in my answer. The Flow for Coach really is designed more so for the athlete. Having said that, our products have the activity tracking that has become so commonplace in the market nowadays. And to be perfectly frank, if I'm the coach, if I see your training is progressing over a period of time, then you may be overreaching in terms of the effort and intensity that you're doing. And if you're wearing our product the rest of the day, that activity is in effect contributing to the amount of training load that you're incurring, and the amount of recovery that you might need to increase. So I can give you the feedback that you would need to ensure that, again, you're not overdoing things and that you're getting ready for the big game on Sunday, for instance.
What do you feel like from a end user standpoint? What do consumers really want right now? Are people going to the gym and requesting that they use their wearable with their coach? I mean, what are you seeing on the front lines when you talk to people that are in the fitness industry? What do the consumers want right now?
Well, I think there's a couple things. First and foremost, this 24/7 activity tracking has become very commonplace. I think people are becoming more in tune with what's happening not only during the actual exercise session, but throughout the rest of the day. And that includes, of course, the sleep as well, because they want to track the number of hours they may have slept, the quality of sleep. So that's number one on that list. Number two, again, and I hark back to what we discussed initially, is the accuracy of the product. In the end, like I said, there's a lot of product out there, but if you can't provide something that's giving you accurate readings, then what's the benefit of it if it's steering me in the wrong direction? And last but not least, people really want the mobile connectivity. They want the flexibility of using with an application, whether it be ours or having that connectivity with a third-party service like from Apple or Google, for instance. So I think those are the three main components. Again, it's the activity tracking, the accuracy, and again, the flexibility of using with a mobile device.
So with this accountability from a trainer, a lot of people get a trainer or be in a coaching group for accountability.
Right.
Do you feel like baked into the strategy of wearable devices, there needs to be that accountability? Or do you feel like these wearable devices can just be for the end user that wants to use them by themselves? Which one's more powerful?
Well, I think a lot of it depends on the end user, to be perfectly frank. I mean, for a person like myself, I live a very active lifestyle. I swim, I bike, I'm in the gym quite a bit. So for me, I don't need the accountability because it is something I like doing and something I want to be doing. But for someone who may be new to exercise and want to live a healthier lifestyle, working with that trainer in conjunction with the technology that's out there, I think is going to give them that sense of accountability that they may need in order to live that healthier lifestyle.
And I hope you don't mind. I want to get really granular. I'm a club owner. I operate a club and I have 3,000 members. Mm-hmm. How do I use Polar to affect my bottom line?
Well, honestly, I would showcase it as best I can in the group environment. So whether it be a spin class, a dance class, for instance, don't hesitate to invite people to either see what's happening during an exercise class, or if you're flexible enough to do so, maybe have them participate in class at courtesy for one time to really get a sense as to what this heart rate experience is all about. Mm-hmm. And I think once you really get a sense as to what's happening both in the club and in a class specifically, I think will help the bottom line for the end user, for the club owner, I should say.
For the next 12 months, is there anything that you're really excited about that Polar is going to come out with? Maybe it's a product or it's a partnership.
Yes, most definitely. We have some exciting product we're introducing at CES, one of which is a new heart rate sensor that's going to allow the user to it's a chest strap, but what makes it unique is it actually has the flexibility of recording the heart rate data and storing it on the sensor itself. So it frees you up of having to wear a wrist unit or maybe carrying your phone. So under certain sports, for instance, having a watch or a phone may not be really an easy thing to carry along with you. So having that sensor and the recording capabilities it has frees them up from having to carry one. The other component of this H10 sensor that we're introducing is its ability to work with GoPro. We're going to be partnering with them where, in conjunction with the Hero 4 and Hero 5 cameras of theirs, you're going to be able to, via Bluetooth, stream heart rate data to the actual camera itself. And when you see the video after the fact, you're able to see heart rate and GPS data overlaid on the actual video. So we're really excited about that. And it's a classic example of the type of partnerships that we want to be part of that is going to enhance us as a brand.
As a takeaway, if I'm a trainer or if I'm a coach that's using technology for heart rate in a large group, what is something that I can do tomorrow? If I'm going to go out and purchase a device or implement some kind of technology in my coaching practice, what would that look like?
Well, I'd probably steer them towards one of our more basic fitness units like the A360, for instance, or if you're so inclined, maybe utilizing just the H10 sensor that is coming out. There are many fitness applications in addition to what Polar has to offer that has a heart rate feature. And for many cases, some people just want to see how many calories they burn. Well, having a heart rate component really gives them those accurate calorie readings. And when working in conjunction with a trainer, you're realizing the benefit of having their experience, but more importantly, you're seeing with the end result, in the app or the watch that you may be using, the results of what you've done, including, the calories burned, your average heart rate, so on and so forth. So it's really the best of both worlds. You're getting the input from the trainer with the technology component that we have to offer.
Michael, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thank you.
So I'm here with Kevin McCoy. He is the Senior Vice President of Business Development for Lose It. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me.
This is going to be so fun. Last year we interviewed Charles Teague, and we talked about Ascend and everything that was going on with Lose It. So I am really excited to see what progress you guys have made, not just in the fitness space, but for Lose It as well. What did the road look like? It's been 7 years for you at Lose It, right?
Yeah. I mean, we started back in 2008, and we had early success back in 2008 in the Apple commercial. We had a ton of success early on. We had over 1 million downloads in the first year. But we were just a calorie tracker. People came in and, put what they ate. They got their calorie budget, put what they ate, what they exercised. And that was really what the app was back then. And you look at what the app today is, and we've really taken it from being the most successful diet app on the market into more of a program, right? So it's still calorie tracking, and if you just want to track your calories, well, the database is a lot better. Back then, we probably had a couple 100,000 foods. Now we have 7 million foods. So the likelihood that you're going to find your food is,
it's pretty
high
guaranteed.
percentage. Yeah, it's pretty good. We've done a bunch of stuff, and even between last year and now, when you talked to Charles the last time, we're always focused on making mindful eating accessible to people. And tracking your food, we know, is the best way to actually lose weight, but it's a pain in the butt. We all know that, right? And when we originally started Lose It, it was, hey, people are writing their food down. Wow, we can make an app that's in your pocket with a database, and now you can start standing in line. You can actually look at the menu and figure out what you want to eat. And that was really great, and people liked it. But now they're like, oh, God, this is still hard because I have to search for my food and doing all this stuff. So we're constantly just making updates to the app to make it easier to use and make it easier for people to get in and stay engaged.
What do you think, from a high level or low level, what makes Lose It so popular? I mean, why do people love using this app? There's a ton of apps in the App Store for calorie tracking and food tracking. Why have you had the success you had?
Yeah, I mean, we make the app incredibly easy to use. And that sounds like, oh, okay, just make it easy to use. It's actually really hard. I mean, we've got some really gifted...
People don't understand how much technology and UX, UI goes into creating a product that people can use like that.
Yeah, and people have, so it's that, and then people having success, and then a lot of the people that come to Lose It, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's, it's over 50% of people come from word of mouth. Like friends are telling them, I had success with this app, you should go try it. That's really, I think the biggest reason why we've had success and continued success, we just continue to make it easy to use.
Looking back, was there a moment or maybe a couple of moments that you really thought you guys had made a breakthrough? Was there milestones in those 7 years that you've been with Lose It where you can look back and say, you know what, the shift really happened then?
Our success has been pretty consistent. I will say is we've been really successful transitioning to more of a program, right? So giving people content. Giving people 30-day workouts and that kind of stuff. They're looking for that kind of stuff. Giving them advanced features. It's pretty consistent for us. It's from just getting people in.
Something really exciting this year that I saw is Snap It.
Yeah.
And Snap It, I have never seen anything like this. What is the accuracy behind Snap It? And for our audience that doesn't know, tell us about Snap It.
Snap It is incredible. It's literally revolutionary for this, right? Because anyone you talk to about tracking food, they're like, I wish I could just take a picture. Right? So the fact that we've actually spent the last 2 years with our data scientists and building a model, and we actually released this thing, and literally people now can take a picture and log their food. The accuracy, when we released it in beta back in October, I think the top 5 or 10 foods were always about 81%. The great thing about Snap It is it's machine learning, right? So people take pictures. We've had millions of pictures now analyzed. We continue to run the model. And it gets smarter. So between those couple months that we've had it in beta, it's now those top foods are now 91%. So we can now run monthly models and it just keeps getting smarter. So it's really awesome. The couple things we've seen with it too is people are two times more successful than people that don't use it, and they stay engaged longer. Versus people that aren't using the actual Snap It feature.
And it continues to get smarter over time. So is there a fulcrum point where it's going to be able to recognize anything anywhere?
God,
is that
I hope
possible?
So. I don't know if it's possible.
Okay.
I think it will continue to get smarter. There's a lot of things like right now you take a picture of your plate, and we had breakfast this morning and picked up that there was an omelet on the plate. There was also fruit. In the future, we want to be able to take that picture and it just identifies all 3 things on the plate right away. So it's going to get smarter. It's going to get better. We've got a big head start now on everybody because it's not something you can just do overnight.
One of the things that Charles and I talked about last year was Ascend, and he had mentioned that Lose It was kind of still understanding what coaches and clients both wanted and needed from that virtual coaching standpoint.
Yeah.
What do you see as improvements that you've made to Ascend, and how's the growth of Ascend been since 2015?
So we've got thousands of coaches using Ascend. We made a big change in Ascend, which was making it free. So now coaches can use it for free.
When did that happen?
That happened, I want to say, probably middle of the year. And we really wanted to lower the threshold for coaches. We felt like people wanted to use it. We couldn't figure out really the right business model for trainers and stuff. So in the end, their clients are using Lose It. So we made that product free so they can use it now today. And people love it. Part of Ascend is even as a trainer, and maybe you're not a nutrition person, but a trainer, and you just want to work with your clients, just because your client knows you're looking over their shoulder, you're going to eat better.
If you look at the behavior change model, having that extra framework of accountability is a big deal.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like Lose It plays into that behavioral change aspect?
It's huge, but we know that behavioral change happens 4 weeks in. If we get them for 2 weeks, we're going to hold on to them, and then they just got to kind of grind out the next 2 weeks. And once they get to that kind of 4-week marker, the changes happen, right? They're tracking their food, they're eating better, and we see that stuff.
So over that time, is there people that drop off? What are the people that do the right things that stick? What are they doing? What is the data support for them that actually get the result, which is consistency and weight loss?
Yeah. Well, they're tracking.
They're just simply tracking.
Yeah. There's little things like people that track dinner are more successful. A lot of people will go breakfast, lunch. Oh, I know what, now I know how many calories I have. I don't need to do dinner. But people that just really just do all the meals and all the snacks are a lot more successful. And, we have challenges inside of Lose It, and one of them is called the Lose It Challenge, and it's actually not just a weight loss challenge, it's a wellness challenge. And there's points, it's a points-based challenge, and one of the points is you get points for logging dinner. We came up with a whole point system based on our user success metrics. So we took our best users and we're like, what are those guys doing? They weigh in every day. They actually log all their food. And that means we just see a huge drop off from lunch and people don't log dinner. So we give points for dinner, and, they do a certain amount of exercise. So all that whole point system is based on that. And that challenge is really successful because it gives people a little bit of a different way to think about, just logging food. It's more of a game than it is tracking food
Sure.
again. So, it's again, and there's different types of people that do different things. Some people are just like, I'm type A and I log. And other people are like, I need support, I need accountability. And, it's like everyone needs kind of different things.
It's interesting that you said the people that track dinner are the ones that have the most success. Why do you think that is?
I think they're just committed. They're committed to tracking. I think when people track breakfast and lunch, they're either saying, I have a good general sense of kind of what the calories are left, and that's okay. And then you have the people that are like, no, I'm doing all 3 meals in my snacks. And I think there's just more of a commitment there.
And so we look at the data, and the data is showing that wearables are growing, hearables are growing. You're here at the Consumer Trade Association show, which is also called CES. What is this membership that you have with the Consumer Technology Association? You're on the Health and Fitness Technology Board.
Yep.
What is that all about?
So we meet monthly, and, it's really thinking about policies and things like that in the health and fitness field. And, it's an amazing group of people, so there's just every company you can think of that is kind of built these devices, or, Garmin to Adidas, it's just like across the board. It's just Lose It's in it, and there's different apps, there's different, wearable companies, and it's just everyone coming together and really just trying to solve problems for the consumer and making it easier for people to get the products they're looking for.
So I'm a trainer in a club, and let's say it's a really big box club, thousands of members coming in. Would Lose It be something that you could use with small groups, or is it really designed to be one-on-one with one client and one trainer at a time?
Lose It definitely can be used with small groups. We have a social feature inside of Lose It. People are more successful when they have more than 3 friends. So again, it goes back to what's important to you, right? Yeah. So if you have if you're just a one-on-one guy, then you could do that. If I'm a trainer and I have 5 people, those 5 people can make friends with the other 5 people, and now all of a sudden you have an activity stream and you can see what each other are doing, and you can communicate through the app with each other. So, accountability, it's good accountability.
Do you feel like there's any partnerships or announcements coming up for 2017 that are really exciting? I mean, you've seen a lot of growth. It's been 7 years since you've been with Lose It. So what's coming up this year? What are coaches looking forward to and fitness professionals looking forward to from Lose It?
It's all about really keeping people engaged. So we continue to just focus on features that when a trainer tells their client to use Lose It, they know that they're putting them in an app that is just really easy to use. It's, accessible. All the features are kind of right there for you, and people are having success. We'll do a ton of partnerships and things like that next year. We're still trying to figure out the gym thing, right? We know trainers want it, and we would love to just make Lose It available to everybody in the gym. And, we've had some gyms that wanted to do that, and, it kind of comes with the subscription or the membership. And then we've had other gyms that, they couldn't kind of figure out the model, but we're certainly we think that's obviously a core group of people that we want to reach. Partnerships are really important to Lose It. You can see that we're partnered with all the devices, and we're partnered, we partner with Walgreens, and you get rewards for logging food in Lose It. So we're constantly trying to figure out the user in Lose It is doing something and it's important in their life. We want to kind of connect that into Lose It, so to make sure that we're meeting them where they live versus it's been all over the place.
Do you have any case studies or any examples of people that have had supreme transformations that you know about that you'd love to share? I mean, what's something really unique that you could share?
I think we actually have one coming out soon, and it's somewhere like 600 or 700 pounds.
From one person?
From one person.
Wow.
Yeah, and that person was really reluctant on talking to us because they got down to 300 pounds and they wanted to get further along. We have so many case studies that the greatest thing about working at Lose It is people email you and tell you you saved their lives, and then they send you before and after photos, and we have that all over on our blog at loseit.com. You can check all that stuff out. I'd hate to single someone out and leave someone else out.
So what do you see then from a device perspective? Has Lose It ever dabbled in devices, or do you leave that to third party and you guys really focus on just being that repository for healthy logging of foods and activity and whatnot?
Yeah, so we have partnered with everybody on the device side, and I think our feeling is especially a few years ago when it was Jawbone and his Fitbit and it was, Misfit and there's a Nike Fuel Band and it was like just all these things. And we just said, you know what, there's different people. Some people are scared to death of Nike because I'm not a super athlete. I don't want to do the Fuel Band. And you know what I mean? So we're just like, let them make the decision on what they want to use and we'll connect that device in. Obviously that market has condensed down and I really think where we're at now is there's Apple Watch and there's Fitbit. And it's funny, we were just walking the floor and there's actually still 1,000 of these things.
It's incredible.
It really is. But we think the watch is really interesting. We actually have built a separate app called Challenges, and it's 100% focused on closing your rings on the watch. And we do that with a lot of companies, corporate wellness. And it's really engaging because what we do is now, we had Lose It challenges running in companies, and the engagement rate typically for a company was like 12 to 15% or something. Employees would participate in these challenges. The Lose It challenges, we got 60% engagement rate. And then 60% of those people were completing. So like off the charts. But when we looked at it, we're like, man, if we could do something on the watch where it's like, wow, this phone experience is great. But imagine if I could send you a message from my watch to your watch while you're sitting there, having a snack, and all of a sudden you see like, oh, Kevin just said, why haven't you worked out yet today? The rest of us have. And it's like you can actually communicate through the watch. We've done that with the Challenges app, and it's really, really cool. That I think fitness trainers would love it. It's less about nutrition. It's really just about moving, activity, standing, and that kind of stuff. It's just really close your rings. The more you close the rings, the more points you get. And it's built like teams up to 4. They compete with each other, and that's in the App Store today. We really built it focused on corporate wellness, but we made it available to consumers if they want to use it.
I think there's two sides of the coin, because on one side, people are like, technology is going to make us disconnected. And then on the other side, it's like technology can actually connect us and make us more healthy.
Right.
So what do you say to people that might have the mindset of like, I don't want technology in my life? And is that okay? Because we're all unique. We all have a unique thumbprint, right?
Yeah.
But what is this mindset around Lose It? And how can people adopt more technologies that's going to empower their health, like Lose It?
I think there's a lot of people just want to be disconnected, and that's okay. I think you got to find out what motivates you. I think when people are losing weight, there's just different personalities, right? There's a big group of people that do need support. That's why we continue to evolve kind of how connected you are. And then there's other people that just can do it on their own. And I think that's just really, these people are different. I kind of straddle the middle. I like to be left alone sometimes, but when I'm like involved in one of these challenges, it's really fun. And you're really working with your team. That's why we think some of this is really fun. And you can turn it off. You can always turn off technology.
Sure. And it's this aspect of, am I going to embrace what's actually happening in this moment or not? And there's a mindfulness component. Mindfulness is big. Lose It, I feel like, is a piece of this wellness circle.
Yeah.
In that regard, I mean, how can people actually use this, Lose It, and not get wrapped up in just the tracking? Because there are some cases that we've seen where people just track and track and track, but they don't get results. What are some tips for people to not focus solely on the tracking, but to use the tracking as a way to empower them for the long term?
The number one thing is, like, when you download Lose It and you track your food for the first day, you're going to probably learn more than you've learned your whole life. You know what I mean? Like, most of the people I talk to, they're like, I used it for 2 weeks, but I actually learned so much that I knew how to cut things down and what portions were right. And really, so it's this mindful eating thing. But a lot of people just don't even have any sense for like what the portion is supposed to look like. At some point, you have to do tracking, so at least you have a baseline.
Yeah.
You got to figure out your baseline, and then from there, you figure out what you want to do.
And whether it's business or health, I mean, what gets measured gets managed.
Yeah.
So it's obvious in that regard.
Exactly.
And when we look at this fitness landscape in the next couple of years, there's so many people that are interested in, how do I use virtual coaching? And how do I use something like Ascend? Is there still going to be a role for the trainer using technologies like this in the gym? Or do you feel like as we move forward, the trainer maybe will only see a client once a month in the gym and then use these virtual applications to manage those clients?
Yeah, I think it opens up a bigger opportunity for them. It's like you still need to go into the gym. You still need to work out. You still need some professional to tell you how to do this successfully, especially when it comes to working out in those programs. I'm sure Charles talked about this last year. Now you can, when they're outside of the gym, you can reach them now. And the other thing is, like, they should embrace something like Lose It because we're giving you insights, right? So like now you can sit down with your client and be like, okay, every time you eat whatever 75 grams of carbs, you're always over budget. Let's focus on building that protein. Let's get more protein, and it's just more tools for them to make their clients more successful. And I think, again, in the end, it'll make them have longer relationships with clients, and more word of mouth because people are going to be happy with it.
Do you have any parting guidance for a club operator who's looking at maybe putting a system in their gym that involves virtual coaching? Would Lose It ever be an option for that for the future? I know right now we discussed that it's not in this moment something viable, but down the road, the next 2 to 3 years, is virtual coaching something that we could see bigger clubs use as a value add for the trainers and what the trainers are doing?
So clubs should be embracing nutrition, and not just nutrition, they should be embracing eating and how people eat, right? I mean, I tell this example all the time. If I don't, when I fall off the wagon for 3 weeks, I just gain weight, and it's all about that.
Especially in our 30s. Yeah.
Right. No, I mean, it's when I get to, it's funny because I play hockey once a week at night. So one of the things I think about is oh, I don't have time. I got 30 minutes. I'm just going to go ride the bike because that's good for hockey. Right. So, but I always get to the gym, but if I'm just not motivated to track my eating, I still gain weight. So they should just, they should work with Lose It. They should leverage Ascend. It's free, and they should make eating important. Because the other part of it is exercise helps people psychologically. I just burned 500 calories. I don't want to waste those now. Yeah. So they just go hand in hand. So I think there's a huge opportunity for trainers and club owners to kind of bring these things together.
Thank you for your expertise and making a product that so many people can use. How many people have actually used the application to this point?
So we've had 27 million people or more that have downloaded it. Any given month, we have 3 million people using it.
Kevin, thanks for coming on the show.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for spending some time with me on the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast. I want to thank our show sponsors, Brian O'Rourke and his family of companies, and the Fitness Industry Technology Council. You can learn more about becoming a valued partner with FitC at fittechcouncil.org and making an impact in your business with Brian's family of companies at brianko'rourke.com. Pick up a copy of Brian and his partner Robert Dyer's recent book, The 9 Partnership Principles, A Story of Life Lessons, which is available on Amazon now. For more clarity and insights about the technology that matters for your fitness business, be sure to access your free download for the 2017 Technology Trends Report right from your phone by simply tapping on the show artwork and clicking on the link in purple. To support this podcast, if you enjoyed the show, leave us a 5-star review by touching the link from your show artwork or at fittechcouncil.org/review. Next week, we have another phenomenal show with an expert guest to inspire you at the crossroads of fitness and technology. So until I see you again next week, be well, have an amazing day, and go out there to connect online and offline with the people you care about most.